Hi, everyone. This is Dr. Leslie Allen, the owner of the Center for Holistic Healing and DNA Doc Functional Medicine Program. Today, I'm delighted to be here with one of my graduates from our Functional Medicine Program, Jessica. Jessica, thank you so much for being here and willing to share your story of what you were experiencing and how our program helped you really transition your health and well-being. So I appreciate that. And I'm gonna, we will allow you to jump right in here. And I want you to tell everyone really what your biggest health challenges were, why you even got on a call with me in the very beginning to do that phone consultation to just see if we were a right fit for one another. What was it that that inspired you to join that call? What health challenges were you struggling with?
Yeah, totally. First of all, I'm so excited that we're doing this because the fact that I'm on the other side of this program has been unbelievable. This has been about a 2-year journey for me. Prior to starting with you, it was a slow progression of some dietary issues of like intolerances with dairy and gluten, some hair loss, and then about a year and a half ago, I started to experience extreme fatigue and brain fog to the point where I couldn't go to work. I couldn't really function with my friends. Day-to-day activities were near to impossible. I also had extreme issues with food. I couldn't eat anything without getting extremely sick. After eating pretty much anything other than rotisserie plain dry chicken from Whole Foods, I would get like 6 months pregnant. Huge distension, extremely uncomfortable. There were days where I couldn't go to the bathroom. There were days where I was going way too many times. Just an overall extreme health decline. That I sought out practitioner after practitioner, everything from primary care to gastroenterologists, to a couple different functional medicine practitioners that just couldn't really support me in the way that I needed until I found Dr. Allen.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad that you found me
Me
because you
too.
were awesome to work with. And I do feel, and I think that this is something that we talked about on, because your hesitancy a little bit around like, why do you feel like you can help me? And I've sought out all this other care. You had already invested a bukus of money and, a lot of money. Really, and that's often a question that I get from many people because a lot of my clients are patients that have come from other providers that weren't. And I remember telling you like our labs that we do utilize are some of the best, and to really be able to identify what that underlying root cause is makes the treatment process so much easier when you really know what you're working with and what we're dealing with. So, would you agree that like the importance of comprehensive testing and really being able to look at like, what is your genetic predisposition and looking at what was going on in your gut, both in the upper as well as the lower, that really helps you because the healing process wasn't always easy. There were challenges in there.
Yeah, definitely. And I mean, you really were the first practitioner to even shed light on the fact that this testing existed. I had stool analysis done, but never after. I mean, handfuls and handfuls of practitioners. Not once they say, "Oh, maybe we should check genetically, what are you predisposed to?" Urine organics, I know, was a huge one that showed a lot of the dysbiosis in my gut. And I mean, practitioners after practitioners, no one even recommended this kind of testing. So that was the big thing in why I chose to go with you, because testing is going to show what's wrong. And that was what I was seeking. I'm like, what's going on? Why can't we figure out what's happening? At that point, I was like, I'll try anything.
Right. Absolutely. Yeah. Okay. So share with us your biggest victories, your biggest health gains that you were able to achieve throughout the program.
I think my overall quality of life I mean, I got to a point over 2 years where I was beginning to come to terms with the fact that this was just going to be how I live. I was
Mhm,
just going to be sick.
mhm,
And so being able to regain the little things in life that bring joy.
mhm,
I mean, I couldn't go to the grocery store. There were just things that were so difficult. Getting up every morning without the dread of knowing that I'm going to be extremely fatigued. Being able to
mhm.
go through a conversation without the brain fog preventing me to like have a typical conversation with a friend. There are all these like little things that I was just convinced that I was never going to be able to have in my life again.
Mhm.
Um, and on top of the quality, I mean, being able to eat freely again. I mean, for months, I lived off of 10 foods I could eat. Being able to not only eat freely, but reintegrate foods that, I mean, I couldn't eat dairy for years. And the fact that I can eat it in moderation now is mind blowing to me. But overall, just the quality in which I get to wake up every day and experience my life has been night and day.
That is my favorite part of my job.
Mm.
It is wonderful to be able to hear someone talk about those transitions and transformations with their health. But also, just I think when we move through life day to day, we take our health for granted.
Oh,
Like
big
we
time.
just, you just take it for granted until you don't feel well. And especially given the fact, I mean, obviously, your age, you are young and vibrant and ready to live life and early in your career and ready to really thrive there, and it does become incredibly challenging when you can't do that. So that's beautiful. So when would you say, okay, so we start the process, we get started on your initial comprehensive plan in the program, and while we're waiting for the lab results to come back to really find out what is the underlying root cause, what are we dealing with specifically, so then we can get you guided on your treatment plan. When would you say you really started to notice results?
So I think we started in July of 2020. I would say I started to see significant changes that like end of not October in 2020, because I did wind up contracting mono in
Oh
November,
yes,
which
I forgot
made
about that.
everything.
Yay,
Ugh,
yeah.
I did not. But there was
I
a little bit
forgot
of
about it.
regression because of
Mhm.
it, right? So I was like
Right.
starting to build this momentum. I was reintroducing foods. I had energy levels again. That was not like late October. The mono hit, and then it took a couple more months. But once that mono kind of moved through my system, it was that upward motion again of healing, reintroducing foods, energy levels increased. So what is that? July to August, September, October, November, like four-ish, 5 months, I would say, is when I started to really feel different.
Mhm. Awesome. And I'm going to ask you, so how do you feel, you didn't just work one-on-one with me. We do group calls in our group, but we also, you got to work one-on-one with a mindset mentor to make sure that mentally you were really on the right track, that your mindset was facilitating the healing of your physical body. How do you feel like that benefited you and the progress that you were able to make?
I think it was extremely important component. Up until working with Casey, I didn't really understand how much my anxiety was contributing to my health issues. Um, I thought I lived a pretty mellow life. I do my yoga, I do my meditation, but I was constantly body checking, right? So, you know, every time I ate something, I was like, oh no, what's going to happen? Or I woke up with fatigue. It's like, oh, I'm so tired. And I just loop it all day, right? So although I was physically doing the things I needed to heal, mentally, I was not taking care of my well being. Working with Casey, working on those breath techniques, doing it before I eat, before I go to bed, before any transition in my day, um, was a game changer. My cortisol levels began to drop.
Mhm.
Um, my energy levels increased. one can't be done without the other. And and now I'm utilizing that in my everyday life. It's something that's carried over that I use every day.
That is wonderful. I mean, that's really our goal, because this is lifelong, right? So everything that we teach you, it's not like, oh, it's a start and an end process. It's really a training process to say, go do this on your own, continue to thrive, but it continues to take work, because health and wellness is a journey. It's not just a moment in time, I'm going to do this. And I think that that's somewhat how our brains have been trained. Like, you have an issue with your health, and I'm going to do the XYZ, and I'm going to magically be all better. And then I'll get to go back to my old way of living. And not to say that your old way of living, I mean, you've always been somewhat health conscious and things to that nature, but it really is a journey, and it's about teaching and learning the tools that are necessary. And as you mentioned, like, breath work is a big part of our program. So we don't just heavily focus on just food and supplements, which I think from a lot of other functional medicine providers, that is kind of their go-to tool set. Whereas we bring in a lot more of the medical therapeutic yoga and the Ayurveda, and really looking at the body from a truly holistic perspective, and giving you those interventions that you can pull out throughout the day that aren't just driven by supplements and food. So that is awesome. All right. Well, from a life perspective, how do you feel? And you already mentioned this a little bit, like, just in terms of your quality of life, but how would you say that this program in general has changed your life?
How I listen to my body now. So I am so much more in tune with what my body needs and what my body doesn't need. I've learned how to say no to things when I can feel that I'm going to be overextending. I've created a mentality where it's like I'm signing up for a hangover day. So, like, let's say I eat something that doesn't agree completely with me. It's like I'm signing up for the day. I know tomorrow is going to be difficult, but we'll move through it. So it's like I've developed a relationship with myself and how to listen best with what I need, which I didn't have before. And it's like with all aspects, right? Whether it be work, whether it be personal, whether it be my relationship with food, it's just I now have a better understanding of what I need to thrive.
I love that, because you pointed out the one piece that I feel like is the most important, and that's the balance of our health and our happiness. And I say that quite a bit. You've heard that quite a bit.
Yes.
So you can't have one without the other. And I think that that's another really good point, just that so many people, when you are trying to heal, you're just so on this journey and with a strict diet, and making sure that you get all your supplements in, and making sure that you're doing the self-care, that the healing process can almost seem like a burden, or like another task on your list of things to do. And then it creates stress.
Yes.
And then that stress undoes the improved food choices and getting your supplements in. So it's really about finding that balance, and allowing yourself to live a life where it's not completely rigid. You're not defined by the health issues that you were struggling with previously. You've developed that confidence in yourself to be able to guide, and to be able to have those things that do truly they fill your cup. So then that way you can continue to make all of those good food choices, or the sacrifices that we do have to sometimes make in order to continue to have our health thrive. So that was very well said.
Oh, thank you.
Well, awesome. Jessica, thank you so much for sharing your experience, and for allowing me to help you guide, or to help be your guide through this process, because it truly is such an honor when I feel, people do, they make an investment, right, and into their health, and there has to be this working relationship between us. but you're really putting a lot of trust in me that I can help to get you from A to that end goal of B. And so I'm just forever grateful that you did trust in the process. You trusted in our program, and you were such a pleasure to work with, and you got those results that I knew you were capable of getting.
Thank you. I am so grateful for this experience and for your support. I would do it all over again. I'm glad I don't have to. But
Hopefully we don't.
But I mean, just to come back around to the money, because I know that was something that was a barrier for me. And I just want to say to anybody else that might be struggling with the idea of putting down, a bigger amount of money, it's beyond worth it. And hindsight, I was like, I can't believe it was only this amount. Like, I feel like everything I got from you, the constant support, the one-on-one support, the group support, the 24-hour text, it's a miracle program. And I highly recommend anybody trying it out.
Well, thank you for that. It is an investment. And I think that it's when, especially, I mean, the labs, obviously, and even when I tell people like what they are going to get, the information that they're going to get from the labs, like there's so much more that you gain from those labs, especially from a lifelong perspective, and really setting you up now on a path for prevention of future disease processes. And I honestly feel like if we can get people at a very young age, then we can start to minimize so much of this chronic disease that we are seeing today. So, but the investment, that's the one thing that I try to explain to people, is that you're getting very high quality labs. You're getting a very high level of support for accountability, or even when you're having that self-doubt in your mind, you can't get your mind set in order to make the sacrifices that you need to make in order to drive it's nice to be able to come to that chat and say, is this right? Or when you are struggling, to go to the mindset mentor and say, hey, I'm having looping thoughts. What can I do? What are some interventions that I can do to really help me refocus, to get me back on track? It definitely, I think, there's a lot more support that goes into that than most people can understand, than you get from most other doctors. So, yeah. So, well, thank you. It's been wonderful. I really appreciate your time of taking the time to share your experience. And for anyone else out there that is struggling, or perhaps in the situation that Jessica was in prior to coming into the program, I do offer free 15-minute phone consultations. You can find those, a link to it on my website, which is dnadoc.com. And if you go to our functional medicine tab, you can schedule that free 15-minute phone consultation there. We do offer a lot of other services, because I do understand that there are some people that aren't capable of, our functional medicine program. It is a cash-based program. And so some people just truly aren't capable of making that type of financial commitment. So we do try to meet everyone where they are with the services that we do provide. So we offer, free guided meditations. We've been doing that since the onset of COVID, because we saw that there is such a need from a mental health perspective. And so that is our mindset mentor. She offers those every Monday from 9:30 to 10 Eastern Standard Time, so 9:30 a.m. to 10 o'clock. And again, that's an opportunity to get on there and to connect with other people and to work on some breath work with a very highly trained professional to help you get started. Because honestly, at the end of the day, when you're struggling with health issues, the stress that creeps in can be just as detrimental as the food that you are eating. So it's really important to get a good grasp. But that's a great way for free in order to just get a feel for what we are about, pretty risk-free. So anyhow, both of those options, a free 15-minute phone consultation, free 30-minute guided meditation on Mondays would be a great great start for you. Right. Thank you. Have a great day, Jessica. Thank you so much for sharing.
Of course.